here we have a circuit with elements shown and at time t equal to 0 it was activated, right? We want to be able to connect L1, L2, R1, R2, R3, R4 such that at all instants of time, the galvanometer exhibits no deflection. That means at all times this point P is at the same potential as this point Q. That's what we're seeking here, right? Now let's say at some instant of time the current flowing is I, which bifurcates as I1 and I2 across these two branches. Now at any given instant of time, the drop across AP is the same as drop across BQ, because A and B are anyways electrically identical and P and Q ought to be at the same potential. So drop across AP is the same as drop across PQ, which means L1 di1 dt plus I1 R1 is L2 di2 dt plus I2 R2, right? Right? Not just that, when this current arrives at the junction P, I1, it has no reason to deflect partially or completely across PQ. It goes undeviated through I3. And similarly I2 goes undeviated to R4. Again, the drop across these two is the same as drop across these two, because these two are electrically the same and P and Q are at the same potential. So drop here is the same as drop there. That means I1 R3 is I2 R4. Clear? Now between these two equations, let me eliminate between I1 and I2 one of the two, right? I2 obviously could be written as I1 R3 by R4, and di2 dt could be written as di1 dt into R3 by R4, right? di2 dt is di1 dt into R3 by R4. So what we do is, in this equation, let me club terms together. Let me transpose this here and let me bring this there and eliminate I2, for example. So let me bring this here and I take like a di1 dt common between this term and this one, this term. Then I have inside the parenthesis L1 minus L2 into di2 dt is R3 by R4 into di1 dt, which I have already taken common. And on the right hand side, between these two, if I took like a I1 common, then this is like I2 by I1. I2 by I1 is R3 by R4. Into R2 minus R1 minus R1. Sounds all right? Okay. The problem is actually almost solved. Let me consider two extreme instants, t equal to 0 and t equal to infinity. Now at t equal to 0, I1 is 0, but di1 dt is not 0. There is growing current I1. There is growth of current I1, but I1 itself is 0 at time t equal to 0, because at time t equal to 0, L1 had offered tremendous resistance, right? So I1 was 0 at time t equal to 0, whereas di1 dt was not 0. There was a growing current. The current was growing, so di1 dt was not 0, but I1 was 0. Okay. So in this equation, apply this equation is true for all instants. So at time t equal to 0, I1 is 0, I1 is 0, so the right hand side vanishes. That means this into this is 0 at time t equal to 0. But di1 dt is not 0. But di1 dt is not 0. That means this must be 0 at time t equal to, isn't it? This must be 0. And if this is 0, then we have like a L1 by L2 is R3 by R4. Huh? At time t equal to infinity, steady state conditions would have been accomplished. At time t equal to infinity, I1 is not 0, but there is no further growth of current. di1 dt becomes 0, right? I1 is not 0, but di1 dt is 0. That's steady state, right? No further change of current. Current saturates to a value, right? So then, at time t equal to infinity, the left hand side is 0 because di1 dt is 0, so this is 0. Now on the right hand side, this into this is 0, but I1 is not 0, that means this must be 0. And if this is 0, then you have R3 by R4 equal to R1 by R2. If this is 0, that means R1 by R2 is R3 by R4. So R3 by R4 becomes equal to R1 by R2. Make sense? That's a relationship that we were seeking. Can I wrap this off? Alright, so then at time t equal to 0, this was connected. We need to find the current through the battery at time t equal to 10 to power minus 3 ln 2, 10 to power minus 3 ln 2, right? Okay. Now realize that this is one loop that's executed, this is another loop that's executed, right? This is like current I1, this is like current I2. I1 and I2 arrive here and they pass through the battery as I1 plus I2. Pass through the battery as I1 plus I2. Now this I1 is like a RC circuit, it's like a RC circuit, right? And current in an IC circuit is, in a RC circuit is I1 equal to epsa by R into e power minus t by RC, right? I1 is epsa by R. Epsa is 20 divided by 5, which is 4, right? 20 volts divided by 5, epsa by R into e power minus t by RC. RC is, R is 5 into 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 3, right? We need I1 at t equal to this, right? I1 at t equal to 10 to the power minus 3 ln 2 is 4 e to the power minus 10 to the power minus 3 ln2 by 10 to the power minus 3. These many amps, right? So this is ln half, e power half. E power ln half would be half. So this is 2 amps. This is 2 amps. So I1 at this instant of time is 2 amps. And then you have growth of current in a LR circuit. I2 is a LR circuit, right? This loop is an LR circuit. In the LR circuit, I2 would be epsa by R, 1 minus e to the power minus t into R by L, right? Epsa by R means 20 divided by 10, right? Into 1 minus e to the power minus t. T is 10 to the power minus 3 ln2 into R by L, right? E to the power minus t into R by L. R is 10 divided by L, which is 5 millihenry. Right? So this becomes 2. So ln4, so ln 1 by 4. E power ln 1 by 4 is 1 by 4. So 1 minus 1 by 4, 3 by 4 into 10, 7.5. 20 divided by 10, this is 2, sorry, 20, epsa by R, 20 by 10, which is 2, right, into 3 by 4, so which is 1.5, right, which is 1.5. So the total current I would be I1 plus I2, which is 3.5 amps. Hello? Clear? Just in case. So a coil of inductance 1 Henry and negligible resistance is connected to a source of supply whose voltage is given by 40 volts, variable, right? That means 40 at any given instant is going to drop across the inductor element. Inductor is L, which is 1 into di dt. क्या तोड़ दिया? हाँ, घड़ी तोड़ दिया. Broken. Huh? And therefore, when you integrate, you get I equal to 2t squared. You get I equal to 2t squared. And at any given instant of time, the energy at t equal to 4 seconds, I is 2 into 16, which is 32 amps. Half Li squared would be the energy stored. Right? Half Li squared would be the energy stored. I hope you understand this, obtained by integrating this. At time t equal to 0, I was 0. At time t equal to t, I becomes 2t squared. So on and so forth. In this case, the time constant of the circuit is L by R. Time constant of the circuit is L by R. It's very simple. We want to find the charge flowing through the battery in one time constant. Okay, so then essentially all that we are looking at is I dt. T runs from 0 to tau. Just this, where I is this. This will be the charge in one time constant. This will be the charge flowing in one time constant. Integral I dt, t runs from 0 to tau. Simple integration, right? Can I wipe this off? Hello? So a typical LC circuit, we start with an initial charge Q naught and the charge time variation on the capacitor plates, like we've already seen, is Q equal to Q naught cos omega t, right? The shortest time in which Q becomes 0 is when omega t is 90 degrees, right? So the required time is such that omega t is pi by 2, where omega, of course, as you understand, is 1 by root LC. Omega is 1 by root LC. So T is like pi by 2 omega. T is like pi by 2 omega. Shortest time in which the charge becomes 0. So when the charge becomes 0, what happens to Q squared by 2C? The entire energy is available as half Li squared here. So when the charge here becomes 0, the current is a maximum. Half Li squared is a maximum, so I is a maximum. So then the entire in this time pi by 2 omega, the electric energy gets converted into energy in the magnetic field. The energy in the electric field gets converted into energy in the magnetic field. Yes or no? So this is the shortest time in which the transition from the energy in the electric field to completely energy in the magnetic field takes place, or even vice versa. Again, in this time, this energy gets completely restored to energy here. In fact, this will become plus Q and this will become minus Q in that time. And again, so pi by 2 omega is a magic number which you must remember for a LC circuit. This is the shortest time in which the energy completely transits from electric to magnetic or magnetic to electric. Pi by 2 omega is the magic number, magic expression you must remember, pi by 2 omega. That's the shortest time in a LC circuit in which energy completely transits from electric to magnetic or magnetic to electric. Okay, in the first case, we need to find the potential difference between A and B when the current, when a constant current I equal to 5 amps passing. That means di dt is 0. Constant current I equal to 5 amps means di dt is 0. So then the drop from A to B is drop across this, which is 5 into 2 volts, right? Then the drop across this is 0 because di dt is 0, and then the drop here is minus 10 volts. So drop from A to B is drop across this plus drop across this plus drop across this, which is minus 10 volts, so which is 0. So potential difference between A and B is 0 if a constant current of 5 amps is driven through the branch. Second case, a current at a certain instant, the current is 5 amps, but di dt is not 0 in this case. Di dt is given to be 100 amperes per second. 100 amperes per second is the di dt given for the second case, right? So in the second case, the drop here will still be 10 volts. Okay, the drop here is 10 into 10 to the power minus 3, these many Henry, L into di dt, which is 100 L di dt, that's a drop across the inductor element, and then minus 10, these many volts. So that makes it 1 volt. That makes it 1 volt. That makes it 1 volt. So under steady state, the current through the 10 ohm and the 100 ohm resistance. So, well, under steady state conditions, this behaves like zero resistance. So we have like zero resistance and 100 ohms in parallel. That means the entire current will pass through this, right? If a current arrives here, it will not pass through the 100 ohm, it will pass through this. So current through the 100 ohm will be 0. And the entire current will pass through this. So this will be the loop executed by the current. This will be the loop executed by the current. And this offers zero resistance. That means in this loop, the only resistance, effective resistance available is 10 ohms. So the current, I'm sorry, this is the direction. This is the direction because this is the orientation of the battery, right? So then 10 ohms is the available effective active resistance. So then the current driven would be 5 by 10, which is half amp through this, half amp through this, half amp through the 10 ohm and 0 amps through the 100 ohms. Under steady state conditions again, this E volts will drop across the capacitor. The energy stored in the capacitor would be half C E squared. This E volts will also drop across this branch. This E volts will also drop across this branch, and this is zero resistance. So the current through this is going to be E by R. The current through this is going to be E by R. So the energy stored in the inductor would be half L I naught squared, where I naught is E by R. Simple. Yeah, but look at these 2 points. The drop here is E by R, drop here is E. So what's the current driven through this? The current through this is also E by R. This E by R and E by R will come here and pass through. ठीक है, यहाँ पे E by R, E by R यहाँ से pass कर गया, E by R यहाँ से they come here and they choose a complete path, है ना? You've done 13. This was an earlier problem, unfortunately repeated. Not EPSA to EPSA. I'm sorry, there is a misprint. Initially, this was connected, and this portion, this was inactive, and there was an inductor here. Oh, there was no inductor here. Okay. Initially, this was active, and this was the active loop. This was the active loop, right? And this had reached steady state conditions. This had reached steady state conditions. This one, by the time it was t equal to 0, this had reached steady state conditions. Then this loop offered a resistance R because these two offered no resistance. So the current driven through this outer periphery was EPSA by R. So the flux associated with L1 and L2 must have been L1 plus L2 into EPSA by R. That must have been the L into I. Is the flux associated with L1 and L2 under steady state conditions of the outer periphery? L1 plus L2 into I. That's the flux associated with the outer periphery. Now the important thing is, how would these changes get reflected once you change from 1 to 2? Every time such an abruptness happens in a circuit conductor containing an inductor, what you must do is you must equate the flux in the two states. The flux must be equated in the two states. That means now, see, just before the shift took place, this was the flux. Just after the shift took place, let's say the current was I naught through the loop. The current was I naught through the loop. This I naught will be such that the new flux will be the same as the old flux. The new flux then is like L1 into I naught is the new flux. L1 into I naught is the new flux. So then I naught is known. I naught will be L1 plus L2 into EPSA by R divided by L1. That's a current just after the shift from 1 to 2, right? Now, so this will then be subject to a fresh